Welcome to the Startup Show. I'm your host, John Biggs. In every episode of the Startup Show, we talk to an amazing entrepreneur about how they do what they do. We'll explore tactics, tricks, and techniques for building some of the coolest things on the planet. Thanks for listening and enjoy. Welcome back to the Startup Show. I'm John Biggs. Today on the show, we have Lisa and Paul Juris. They're the founders of Somo Sleep Fitness. Welcome, Lisa and Paul. This is a first for me because I've never interviewed a couple before.
Well, we come as a team, so that's the way it works with us. But we're excited to be here.
You guys share AirPods and you share like a brain, I guess, in that whole situation.
You do whatever works.
Hermetically sealed.
Whatever works, John. We're very efficient.
So this is lovely. So first off, tell us about the company, Somo Sleep Fitness.
All right. So Paul and I are obviously partners in life. We're co-founders of Somo Sleep Fitness, which is a holistic wellness company, and we focus on sleep, rest, and recovery, beginning with our patented sleep mask.
Okay. And how does it work? What is it doing for us?
Okay. Go ahead, Paul.
So, when you're developing any product or service, the first thing you want to know is what problem are you solving, right? So everybody knows you need to block light. I mean, that's pretty universally understood. And so there are a lot of sleep masks out there that you put over your eyes and they block light. But if you really want to be disruptive, if you really want to create something innovative, you got to really dive deep. So when we started this, we did a lot of consumer-based research. We really wanted to develop a problem statement. And we heard from people who didn't like using sleep masks, which I thought was really interesting. So what are those pain points? How do you solve for those? And we learned about all kinds of things: comfortable, lightweight, machine washable, all of these things that we would try to solve for. But the one thing which was a true revelation to us that we never expected was that 63% of the respondents told us that they couldn't sleep because they were stressed and they couldn't shut off their brains. And so the first thing we're doing is looking at each other saying, well, how do we solve that with a simple solution that doesn't involve technology? And it's not that we're downplaying tech. In fact, our first customer was a tech company, so we're pretty aligned. But we don't want to compete there. And so we started really digging into the scientific literature, and we discovered that there's an acupressure point right between the eyebrows called the yin-tong acupoint. That actually, when pressure is applied there, it calms you down, reduces stress and anxiety, and actually helps bring out sleep. And there were clinical studies in support of that.
And there are a lot of obviously well-known medical facilities like Sloan, Memorial Sloan Kettering, Cleveland Clinic, Mass General. They actually incorporate it into their wellness systems and things that they promote with patients, and whether they're pre-surgical or just for reducing stress and anxiety. Mm-hmm. So we incorporated that into our mask.
And so now we have a patent on our mask that has some really critical features, the most notable one being the acupoint. But also the headband is very uniquely designed so that it doesn't have any buckles. There's no overlapping Velcro. It's very, very thin. And this addresses the comfort issues that people have. So we designed this adjustable headband that is really smooth, seamless, comfortable, and it stays on your head. So that was what we set out to do. We were doing that and sending out samples, and then all of a sudden we got pinged by order. So that's an interesting story.
Why don't you tell that story? So it sounds like you had some success with the product just organically, and then you got hit by another bigger company who wanted access to the mask, or what did they want really?
So what happened was, and it just taking a quick step backward, it all started really. I lived in Brooklyn, and on Court Street, 505 mm-hmm. Court, a young ad executive, and I could not afford blackout blinds. And so I ended up buying, and I really couldn't function. I had to sleep, but there was so much light between the F train going by my window. It was just, it could drive you crazy. So I ended up embarrassingly bought a stuffed animal that I could actually lay over my eyes, which did block the light, definitely helped me sleep. I could not take it with me, obviously, when I was traveling for business, which definitely did not look very good on a plane. My stuffed animal. Yeah. When I was working on my advertising accounts, and then fast forward over the years, the only time I actually could find a sleep mask was when I was on an international flight. I thought, okay, why did they give you one here? And yet I sleep with a stuffed animal. I could not find a great sleep mask. So many years forward, after working for a number of companies like Coca-Cola and Viacom, Cybex International, which was a global fitness company, actually we created sort of the first prototype that I gave to people who were in the hospital, and it just was so helpful for them and for me, but still nothing great on the market. And this is where kind of my side hustle became the full-time hustle.
Yeah, so we sent out masks just to people that we knew, contacts that we have. I've been in the health and fitness industry for 40 years. Lisa's obviously been in marketing. So we sent out dozens and dozens of masks just to get feedback, just to get people to tell us what they liked about it, what they didn't like about it, so that we could sort of get this thing perfected and get it ready for commercial launch.
Right. So we had 1,000 samples. We took, between the two of us, I worked in entertainment, worked with a number of sports professional athletes, and we just said, here, let's pick people in hospitality, fitness, athletics, and just see what they think. We were overwhelmed by positive feedback. I mean, we knew we liked it, but it was just, everyone kept saying we love it. But then Aura contacted us because we did send to some folks at Aura, and they immediately said, look, we want to include this in a refer a friend program globally. And they ended up being our first business customer. And we co-branded it with them. And that really just jump-started our business into Somo Sleep Fitness.
Yeah, it was totally out of the blue. I mean, they called us. We thought they were just going to give us feedback. Hey, this is what we think. And all of a sudden they said, we want to buy 6,000 masks from you. And by the way, you need to fulfill in 43 countries. So
we're an e-commerce site. So we're kind of like,
we had to get scrappy really quickly. And we did. When you have an opportunity like that, you don't falter. You don't make excuses. You get it done. And that's what we did. And so that we didn't launch the company. It catapulted. Now we have distribution, we have supply chain, we've got an e-commerce site, we've got marketing. I mean, that just pushed us out the door, and off we went.
And then the challenge was, I mean, obviously you have people very into wellness who track their sleep and everything. So, it's sort of not high risk, but it is because you're now testing this mask amongst a very well-educated audience who are very into wellness oriented and certainly sleep. And we just kept getting great feedback. But at the same time, while we have $1 billion worth of experience, we didn't have a huge company. So we wanted to do things right and not sacrifice quality or customer service, say this has got to give. We were so focused on all the things that were important all the way to the finish line. And we got a nice testimonial, and we've been building the business ever since.
That's a fascinating idea. The idea that you guys have $1 billion of experience, which is really valuable. And I think, you've already had full careers before this. How do you think that this has helped you achieve more? And what would you recommend for folks who might be in the same boat, who might have had these experiences, but they've been working for other people and they want to do something entrepreneurial?
Well, whenever you shift, when you make the shift of working in the corporate world or working for other businesses, and you want to become an entrepreneur, look, there's a risk. We understand that. And so I think one of the things you want to do is a risk analysis, right? So where are the problems that you're going to face as much as you can to some extent, because new stuff comes at you every day, and you just have to be flexible and enough to deal with them. But you need to dive in. I mean, that's what we basically said to each other is, look, we can let other people determine what our lives are going to be, and we can just take the bull by the horns and go do it. You learn every day, and you have to be willing to learn every day. Don't go into it assuming you understand how things work, because if you do, you're going to.
It's interesting too. Put your pride aside. I had a great career. I mean, I really could be playing golf in Florida, but at some point we just said it's not really us. But boy, we had to learn. You cannot be lazy. You cannot say, well, I did that, or I had people doing it for me, which I did. I had great teams. But it's embracing the change, understanding it's not the same world we live in. Even when I was a chief marketing officer, it's just constantly changing every day. New apps, new everything. And it just keeps you fresh. But you can easily just say, oh, I just don't want to learn that anymore. It's embracing learning, getting your hands dirty. And I put packages together to send to customers to test, and I'm sending notes, and then I'm doing, digital strategy in the morning with London. So You just got to do everything possible and not think you're above it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if anything, you learn from it and you meet the most interesting people and you stay connected with today, what's going on.
Also, you need to keep going. I mean, you hit these thresholds or roadblocks and think, okay, like, we just can't do this anymore. Like, this is killing us. We're done. I can't
Mm-hmm.
take it anymore. And you just keep going, step after step. You don't give up. You just put your head down and you go. And you keep calling people, contacting people, doing all the outreach. I handle all the back-end logistics and customer service. Lisa's handling all the marketing and sales. There are two of us doing this. We do have help, so we outsource some help. But there's a lot to be done. You just don't give up. You just keep going. And we know that it'll hit a tipping point. And so it's going to get to that point that all of a sudden it's going to explode. And we're just working.
How did you feel when you knew that you were going to hit that tipping point? Because I think this is a question I ask a lot of folks. What did you see in the market, or what did you see in terms of partners, or see in terms of customers that told you, oh, okay, this is the idea to run with? Because so many people just chase the wrong idea for so long.
John, and there are many times because this is self-funded. This is bootstrapped on our own because we believe in it, but we also are smart enough to know, okay, this is not going to work. I think it's just hearing from our business customers as well as our consumers. We get texts in the middle of the night. We see people just saying, I don't know what I would do without it. We have people FedExing them because they left them on the planes. We have saying all their kids have taken them, so they have to order 3 more. And we're so in touch with the feedback, but positive and negative. If a band is too tight, we'll say, okay, have you tried to stretch it? But it's for the most part, it's constructive feedback, but it's talking with our business customers just what they need. And then whether it be spas, 5-star hotels, or practitioners a mom who suffers from migraines who said, I've had insomnia and migraines for years and I don't know what's happening, but your mask has changed my life. And when we continue to get those, I just stack them all up. We review them. But at the same time, we've got to hear the negatives and we listen and then tweak and figure it out.
I think some of it also comes from building a network. Because a lot of opportunities come from places that you wouldn't anticipate. And so for example, through the Aura connection, we recently got an email from someone saying, hey, I'm the head physiotherapist for the Australian women's national soccer team. And we were told that this is the greatest mask ever and the whole team should be using it. And we want to buy them for our players. And we're thinking that came out of the blue. So those things do happen. And as long as the product is good, as long as you stand behind it, and we have data to support what our product can do. So that's another great benefit of having the Aura deal is all these Aura customers are happy to send us their data from their rings. And so we collect all that information. And so through the network that we're building, we are reaching people that we didn't think we would have reached before. And it's been really helpful.
And that gets back to, well, we're not tech, but we complement tech. So if you don't have an Aura ring, you have an Apple Watch or a Garmin, you can see before and after wearing the mask. You can see what you can't really dispute the facts, right? The numbers, and that supports that it works. And we here for adults, we know obviously people of whether they be runners or NFL players, but we do have a whole team that uses our masks. We hear from endurance runners. It could be, again, it's a young dad who says, it's the only thing that's been helping me, but we can actually look at their scores if they're doing any kind of tracking before and after.
Wonderful.
Yeah. And then kids, we are going to really look at sort of helping this next generation of kids because everybody should wear one. It will help them.
Yeah, I'm about to go on a flight to India, so I feel like I should probably order one for overnight to get it. I'm leaving tomorrow, so.
Oh, you're leaving tomorrow?
Tomorrow night.
You're in Brooklyn, correct?
Yeah, I'm in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Our daughter's in Greenpoint. She has one in a box.
Don't worry about it. We'll figure something out. I'll put a stuffed animal on my head. What's next for?
Well, as Lisa mentioned, we're developing a kids mask. So many people have come to us and said, have you got anything for kids? And statistically, 76% of parents give their kids melatonin. I mean, it's absolutely astounding, that putting some kind of agent, pharmaceutical, whatever you want to call it, substance into our kids. And we've had parents say, you have to send me another one because my kid stole it and I'll give it back. What we were doing with the kids' solution is we want to make it fun for kids. So our whole focus is making going to sleep fun and rewarding. We can't get into the details yet of what the product is, but we don't want it to be a labor. We don't want it to be a challenge and a fight with parents to get their kids to go to sleep. So we're developing a kids mask, and then we're looking at it using acupressure as our USP, because acupressure is the thing that makes our mask different. We're looking at expanding into other types of product lines, whether it's sleep and recovery or performance. So we're going into directions where we could really take advantage of the whole acupressure system and build that into the.
So it's self-directed, and nothing, I mean, tech, it definitely adds to enhance the quality of our lives, but sometimes you just need to turn your brain off. And aside from just sleep, everybody just can, once they get used to just wearing it, you just turn your brain off just for a reprieve for a little while. We say it's the off switch for your brain. So whether you're on a plane or after a game or just for some basic recovery, if you're meditating, it definitely enhances the experience. So we say sleep, but I think that whole idea of recovery, we fit beautifully there. And it's natural. And we know parents need their kids to go to sleep because they need to function. So this whole idea of something that is self-directed, natural, it's your first best option. Just try it first, because a lot of people don't even think about it. Don't even think, oh, sleep mask.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, it's super cool. So what's the website? Where should people head out to?
SomoSleepFitness.com.
SomoSleepFitness.com.
Like you need Somo Sleep, but that's not how why it came up. But
Somo.
Sorry, that was my Brooklyn throwout. Like you need Somo Sleep. SomoSleepFitness.com.
All right, wonderful. And you're partnering with the Aura Ring, which I'm familiar with. I've been using that for years. So
yeah,
you got some excellent partners here. Well, thank you for sharing this with us. This is pretty cool.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, John.
All right. So this has been the Startup Show. I'm John Biggs. We'll see you next episode.